Hey there, space travelers! Let's embark on a cosmic journey to count every single person on our pale blue dot. As of today, July 7th, 2024, our planet is home to roughly 8 billion people. That's a lot of humans, isn't it? To put that into perspective, if we were to hold hands and form a line, we could wrap around the Earth's equator about 200 times. Every second, about 4.3 babies are born somewhere in the world, while 1.8 people pass away. Knowing our numbers helps us understand our impact on the planet, plan for the future, and ensure everyone's needs are met. Let's put on our space helmets and dive deeper into this galactic-sized counting mission. Remember, in the vastness of the universe, our little planet is teeming with life, and each one of us is a unique star in this cosmic story. Alright, cosmic counters, let's break down what it would take to tally up every single person on Earth. Imagine knocking on every door in every city, town, and village across all 195 countries and territories. First, we'd need an army of counters. These brave souls would have to travel to the farthest corners of the Earth. They'd trek through dense jungles, climb towering mountains, and cross vast deserts. We'd even need to count people living on ships in the middle of the ocean or in research stations in Antarctica. But it's not just about physically reaching everyone. We'd need to create a standardized counting method that works across different cultures and languages. Ideally, we'd want to count everyone at the same moment to get an accurate snapshot. It's a bit like trying to take a family photo where everyone blinks at the same time, except our family is 8 billion strong. Now let's put on our math hats and crunch some numbers. Imagine we had one super counter who could count one person every second non-stop. How long would it take them to count all 8 billion people? There are 86,400 seconds in a day. So our super counter would tally 86,400 people per day. To find out how many days it would take, we divide 8 billion by 86,400. The result? It would take our tireless counter about 92,593 days to count everyone. That's over 253 years. Of course, we wouldn't rely on just one counter. Let's say we had 1 million counters working together. Each counter could tally 86,400 people in a year. With 1 million counters, we could count everyone in about 34 days. Now let's zoom in on some of the cosmic-sized challenges we'd face in our quest to count every Earthling. First up, we have the ever-changing nature of our population. Remember those 4.3 babies being born every second? By the time we finish counting one city, thousands of new people would have entered the world, while others would have left us. Next, we have the challenge of reaching everyone. Our beautiful planet has some pretty remote and inhospitable places. Think about the dense Amazon rainforest, the scorching Sahara Desert, or the freezing Antarctic. Privacy is another big hurdle. In some countries, people might be hesitant to share information about themselves or their families. Lastly, we have the challenge of coordination. Imagine trying to organize a surprise party for 8 billion people. That's the level of coordination we're talking about. Section 5, Technology to the Rescue. Just as technology helps us peer into the farthest reaches of the universe, it can also aid us in our earthly counting quest. From the vast expanse of space to the tiniest details on our planet, technology bridges the gap. Let's explore some high-tech tools that could make our global census a bit easier and more efficient. First up, we have satellite imagery. These advanced satellites orbiting our planet are like our eyes in the sky. These eyes in the sky can help us identify human settlements in even the most remote areas, places that are otherwise hard to reach. By analyzing these images, we can estimate population density and track changes over time, providing us with invaluable data. Next, we have mobile technology. In today's world, mobile devices are almost ubiquitous. With over 5 billion people owning mobile devices, we could potentially use apps or text messages to collect census data, making the process more accessible and user-friendly. Artificial intelligence and machine learning could also play a big role. These technologies are revolutionizing data analysis. These smart systems could help process and analyze the massive amount of data we'd collect, making sense of complex patterns and trends. Lastly, we have blockchain technology. In an age where data security is paramount, blockchain offers a robust solution. It could help ensure the security and integrity of our census data, preventing tampering and ensuring accuracy. With these tools in our cosmic belt, counting everyone on Earth becomes a little less daunting. The future of census taking is bright thanks to these technological marvels. Section 6. The Urban-Rural Divide. As we continue our journey to count every Earthling, we encounter an interesting phenomenon, the urban-rural divide. In urban areas, we face the challenge of density. Cities are like star clusters, with millions of people packed into relatively small areas. Take Tokyo, for example. It's home to over 37 million people in its metropolitan area. Rural areas, on the other hand, present a different set of challenges. Here the population is spread out, like distant stars in the vast expanse of space. The urban-rural divide also affects how we might collect data. In cities, we could potentially use advanced technologies like mobile apps or online forms. But in rural areas with limited internet access, we might need to rely on more traditional methods like door-to-door visits or community gatherings. Section 7. Language and Cultural Barriers. As we zoom across the globe in our counting spaceship, we encounter a beautiful tapestry of languages and cultures, each unique and fascinating. Did you know that there are over 7,000 languages spoken on Earth? That's a lot of ways to say how many people live here. But language is just the beginning of our journey. Different cultures have different ways of defining households and families. In some places, multiple generations might live under one roof. In others, the concept of family might extend beyond blood relations. Cultural taboos and beliefs could also affect our count significantly. In some cultures, it might be considered impolite or even taboo to ask certain questions or to count people directly. Our counting mission would need to be as much about cultural understanding as it is about numbers and data. Section 8. Ethical Considerations. As we navigate through the cosmos of global census taking, we encounter a constellation of ethical considerations that must be carefully examined. First and foremost, we have the issue of privacy, which is a fundamental human right. In our quest to count everyone, we'd be collecting a lot of personal information, which could be sensitive and private. We'd need to ensure that this data is protected and used responsibly, adhering to strict data protection laws and ethical guidelines. Then there's the question of inclusivity, which is crucial for a fair and accurate count. Our count needs to represent everyone, regardless of their legal status, living situation, or personal circumstances, ensuring no one is left behind. This includes people who are homeless, refugees, or living in countries with political instability, who are often the most vulnerable. We also need to consider the potential misuse of census data, which could have serious consequences. Throughout history, there have been instances where population data was used to discriminate against certain groups, leading to injustice and harm. Lastly, there's the ethical question of resource allocation, which is a significant concern. Conducting a global census would require significant resources, money, time, and human effort, which could be substantial. In a world where many people lack basic necessities, is this the best use of these resources? This is a question that needs careful consideration. These are the kinds of ethical quandaries we'd need to grapple with in our cosmic counting mission, ensuring we act with integrity and fairness. Section 9. The Cost of Counting. Now let's talk about something that even intergalactic explorers can't ignore: the cost. Counting every person on Earth would be an expensive endeavor, like funding a mission to Mars. First, we have the cost of personnel. We'd need millions of people to carry out this massive task. These aren't just any workers. They'd need to be trained in data collection, cultural sensitivity, and maybe even some wilderness survival skills for those hard-to-reach areas. Next, we have technology costs. We'd need to develop and deploy advanced systems to collect, store, and analyze all this data. Then there's the logistical cost. Getting our counters to every corner of the Earth would require a massive transportation effort. Lastly, we can't forget about the indirect costs. While we're busy counting, many of these people would be taking time away from their regular jobs. Section 10. Benefits of a global count. Now that we've explored the challenges and costs, let's shift our telescope to the brighter side of things. Let's delve into the numerous benefits that come with a global count. What are the benefits of this galactic-scale counting mission? Why should we invest in such an endeavor? Turns out, knowing exactly how many of us are on this pale blue dot could be incredibly valuable. It provides a foundation for numerous societal benefits. First and foremost, accurate population data is crucial for planning and policymaking. It ensures that resources are allocated efficiently and effectively. It helps governments and organizations make informed decisions about everything from healthcare and education to infrastructure and resource allocation. This data is the backbone of strategic planning. A global count could also help us better understand migration patterns and urbanization trends. This understanding is vital for addressing the challenges of a rapidly changing world. Moreover, accurate population data is essential for tracking progress on global goals, like the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It allows us to measure our advancements and identify areas needing improvement. Lastly, a truly global census could foster a sense of global unity and interconnectedness. It could bring people together in a shared mission. Imagine everyone on Earth participating in the same event at roughly the same time. This collective effort could be a monumental achievement. It could be a powerful reminder that despite our differences, we're all part of the same human family sharing this tiny planet in the vast cosmos. This sense of unity is more important now than ever.